Now at 6:30, new details on how scammers cost the city of Athens more than $700,000. What we're learning, the city's emails provided to WOUB.
Plus, the Trump administration is in hot water after deporting alleged Venezuelan gang members, despite a judicial order preventing the move.
This administration acted within the confines of the law.
How the administration is defending its actions.
And in sports, the Waterford Wildcats are state champs once again, winning their third state title in school history. Newswatch starts right now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Welcome to Newswatch. We have a lot to get to tonight, but first we'll hand it over to forecaster Calvin Stebbins. Calvin, what can we expect tonight after this beautiful day we've had?
Yeah, so it's been a beautiful day today, and those conditions are really still going to last into tonight as clear skies are going to be in most of our area. If we take a look in our surrounding areas though, 47 up in Lancaster and Zanesville, and if we go through the Ohio River Valley, 51 in Huntington, and 48 in Parkersburg. Now, over the past 24 hours, we have seen our lows drop into the mid to low 30s, but as the day has picked up, those highs have gone up into the high 40s, and we've even gone across the 50s. Currently in Athens, it is 49 degrees, and we have clear skies. And those clear skies are really going to last into most of tonight, as 33 will be our low, and those clear skies are still going to be sticking around. But if you are going out to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, make sure you bundle up because it will be a bit of a cooler night tonight. Stay tuned to see my full weather forecast.
Thanks, Calvin. New details tonight on the cyber attack against the city of Athens. Documents obtained by WOUB show scammers were able to infiltrate an email chain with a contractor and steal nearly $722,000.
Newswatch reporter Jack Green has been following this story since it first came out, and he joins us now from City Hall. Jack, what are we learning tonight?
Reese and Morgan, in this stack of papers is a long list of communications between Pepper Construction and two fake domains used to pretend to be the company, of Pepper Construction, which built the Athens Armory and the Athens Fire Station. According to the emails, scammers used two fake domains to monitor emails between Pepper and the city. One spelled Pepper Construction, CONSTRUTLON, and the other spelled Construction, CONSTRCUTION. This means that each time Pepper Construction sent an email, scammers also saw the messages and vice versa. The emails were later used to impersonate one of the people in charge of making sure the company was paid for its work at the fire station. After the payment was made, the scammers continued to email the city saying they were either unable to access the money or it hadn't arrived. That's when officials realized the email addresses they had been messaging were fakes. Now, WOUB sat down with Deputy Service Safety Director Andrew Chicky, who says the scam may have been on the city government, but it was an attack on all Athens residents.
People talk about the city. The city's made up of people that live here. It's painful for everybody. The citizens, our community as a collective, are victims of highly organized crime. There's a criminal that acted to take all of our money, taxpayer money.
Now, for a full timeline of events, you can head to our website, woub.org. The city's insurer is investigating a claim on the nearly $722,000 scam. Chicky says that investigation is close to an end. A criminal and civil investigation into the hack is also ongoing. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Jack Green, live in Athens.
Jack, this is some very interesting new information, but it's not the only story from City Hall tonight. What can we expect? And tell us more about tonight's City Council meeting.
How's it going?
Yeah, guys, the council will also be looking at two major construction projects. One of them would put a roundabout at the intersection of State Route 56 and State Route 682. The project will also improve drainage and sidewalks along Union Street. Council members say this project is necessary, since the state has designated this intersection as a high crash risk site. The council will also discuss a $6.5 million beautification project for Uptown Athens. The project will bury some electrical and telephone lines in the area, as well as improve sidewalk and add streetscaping features.
All right, Jack, we will have a full breakdown of the meeting on air, online. Jack, never a dull moment in City Hall. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Federal Hawkins School Board will consider cutting teachers as it faces a tight budget.
The school district is projected to leave this school year with a deficit of more than $365,000. If the district continues operating this way, the deficit will double next year.
It will continue to rise to nearly $1.6 million by the 2029 school year. Declining enrollment is partially why there's a gap between operation costs and funding. The board meets tomorrow at the Amesville Elementary School at 6 p.m.
WOUB is your source for news in Southeast Ohio. For the latest news across the region, head to our website, woub.org, or download the WOUB app.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine expressed concern over the price tag for a new stadium for the Cleveland Browns. The stadium would cost $3.4 billion. The owners of the Cleveland Browns are asking the state for $600 million in state-backed bonds for the project. DeWine said, the bond would end up costing the state over $900 million. That's more than $300 million more than the bond itself. Instead, DeWine proposed doubling the sports gambling operators tax in his budget plan to create a fund that any sports team can use. But this is not the only tax increase in DeWine's budget plan, with a proposed 20% marijuana tax to fund programs like driver's ed in schools and the 988 suicide hotline. Governor DeWine's budget allocates $50 million in grants to also fund driver's ed programs in schools. The grants would pair schools with independent driving schools or let them create their own programs. DeWine's plan to increase access to driver's ed courses was inspired by the fatal school bus crash in Springfield back in 2023. Ohio law only requires driver's ed for those under 18, but DeWine says he wants to make it mandatory for everyone. DeWine plans to fund the grants by doubling the marijuana tax, which House Republicans imply they'll reject. The Ohio Secretary of State reasserts his pledge to keep non-citizens out of the voting booth. Frank LaRose issued a directive telling Board of Elections to review records throughout the year instead of all at once. Workers will use BMV data to find self-reported data from people claiming they're non-citizens, along with information from the Federal Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlements, or SAVE, database to confirm the person's status. This comes after Ohioans voted for a constitutional amendment to make elections for citizens only in 2022.
A global group of economists predict Trump's tariffs will slow economic growth around the world and send prices skyrocketing. The report comes from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It's the first to predict damage from Trump's tariffs and how it might affect America and its trading partners. The group predicts 40 mostly wealthy nations have significantly worse forecasts compared to previous years. But Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno says the tariffs will be a good thing for Ohio.
Well, I don't think it's going to plunge the economy into a recession. You saw the new inflation report, lowest inflation in 5 years. I think our trade relationships having been reset is a really good thing for Ohio and for the Midwest.
But economists disagree, predicting inflation in the U.S. will pick up while economic growth slows. As bird flu continues to spread, an office established to prepare the nation for future pandemics is reportedly down to just one staffer. The White House Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy has been running for about 3 years now. The office used to have 20 people working on the country's response to bird flu and other threats. It's now reduced down to just one person. Who that is isn't known just yet. The office's pages aren't available on the White House website anymore.
A professor at Brown University was deported to Lebanon despite a judge's order to block her removal from the country. Dr. Rasha Alaway is a Lebanese citizen and has held a valid U.S. visa since 2018. She was detained Thursday after returning to the U.S. from a trip to see her relatives in Lebanon. The court ordered the government to give a 48-hour notice before deporting the doctor, but they didn't. Alaway's cousin is suing the government on her behalf, and the legal team is up for the challenge.
Our client is in Lebanon, and we're not going to stop fighting to get her back in the U.S. to see her patients, and we're also going to make sure that the government follows the rule of law.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection told the court its officers didn't get word about the order until she left. The Trump administration is strongly defending the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador over the weekend.
At issue whether officials violated a judge's order in doing so. Brian Abel details the situation from the White House.
More than half of the 261 migrants expelled to El Salvador over the weekend were deported under a rarely used 18th century wartime power called the Alien Enemies Act. It's only been used 3 times in history, the most recent during World War II.
I can tell you this, these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, hombres.
The president of El Salvador posted on X videos of planes on the ground with people in custody being processed. There are questions not only about the legality of using the 1798 Act to deport those who mostly are alleged to be connected with a Venezuelan gang, but also whether the Trump administration deliberately defied a judge's order halting the deportations while they were underway. Responding to a request by the ACLU, an Obama-appointed judge temporarily blocked the move in a Saturday order and said in court that any planes already in the air carrying migrants should return to the U.S. They didn't. Today, the White House border czar defended the deportations, saying the planes were already over international waters by the time the order arrived, and that President Trump did the right thing to deliver them to El Salvador.
We removed terrorists. That should be a celebration. We removed terrorists from this country, and I stand by what the president did. I support 100%.
Today at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was pressed on whether Trump is allowed to defy a court order.
This administration acted within the confines of the law, again, within the president's constitutional authority and under the authority granted to him under the Alien Enemies Act. We are quite confident in that.
A hearing on the ACLU filing against the deportations is expected today, where the judge has ordered the Trump administration to answer whether it violated his orders. At the White House, Brian Abel reporting.
Coming up, the warning signs for a common spinal conditions, what experts say you should look for in your kids.
And how one runner broke a 3-decade streak in the LA Marathon.
It's been a beautiful day here in Athens. Will conditions last throughout the rest of the week? Stay tuned to see my full weather forecast.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, surprises continue in Urbandale, Iowa.
He is a candy container.
He is?
When I lift his head up, there would have been candy in there.
You're kidding.
Wow, I didn't realize it would be worth that much.
That's amazing. It's utterly amazing. Don't miss Antiques Roadshow from Living History Farms.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Good evening and happy Monday. It has been a beautiful day here in Athens, and that is really because of this high pressure system that is starting to dominate just south of here. But over the weekend, we did get issued a tornado watch, and that was because of this low pressure system that is now pushing its way towards the east coast, was dominating our area and brought a little bit of severe storms over our area. Taking a look at our satellite, we have started to see, as the day has continued, that we had a lot of clouds over the morning, but as that high pressure system has started to really dominate, those clouds have started to really dissipate as the day has continued. 49 degrees currently here in Athens, and those clear skies, we are experiencing clear skies, and those clear skies are going to continue into tonight. We'll see an overnight low of 33 degrees, so if you are going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, make sure you bundle up because it will be a bit of a cooler night. Heading into tomorrow, we'll have a high of 69 degrees and a low of 48, and we're going to see nice sunny skies for most of the day tomorrow. Now, if we take a closer look into tomorrow, we are seeing this little warm sector just passing through here by this time, but we are going to be in that high pressure still, but we are starting to see this low pressure line start up in the Michigan area and cross through the Central Plains. That will really affect us into the upcoming week. Heading into tomorrow night, much of the same. That high pressure system still dominating over our area. And since that warm sector is still coming in, we are going to be having a little bit of a warmer night. And that low pressure system is starting to develop even a little bit more. And then heading into Wednesday, that low pressure system is now dominating the area. And this is going to be bringing rain and a wintry mix alongside with it. But heading into Wednesday, though, we are still going to have a nice high pressure system, and we're going to see highs up in the higher 70s, and even we could even cross 80. Now, as we look at our 6 to 10 day outlook for our temperature gradient, we can see we are going to be in a little bit of a cooler front, and that's just because of that cold front that is going to be moving through here. If we take a look at our 7-day outlook, we can see on Tuesday, it will be 69 will be your high with sunny skies with a low of 48. 77 will be your high on Wednesday. Mostly cloudy skies as they are going to be returning with a low of 46. Thursday, 70% chance of showers as that low pressure system starts to move into our area with a high of 53 and a low of 28. And Friday, 57 will be your high with a low of 39, and those clouds are starting to move out of our area on Friday as another high pressure system will start to develop again. And then Saturday, we'll see that rain chance come right back into our area. And for the rest of the weekend, heading into next week, it'll be much of the same.
Calvin, other than a little bit of rain, I don't know about you both, it's a great week to have a great week.
It is. I didn't get the green memo like you did, Morgan, but we kind of got the gray memo going on, I guess.
Yes.
Not very St. Patrick's Day of us. But
I need to see the forecaster wear green with a green screen. Floating Calvin head.
It would be a floating Calvin head across the screen.
I love it. Calvin, thanks. Great as always. We appreciate it. It's a great week for spring. Looks like Puxatawny Phil, we're just in time for that first day of spring on Friday.
Yes, finally. Some sunny skies, and as long as these temperatures go up from here, I'm happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Scoliosis, a common spinal condition, affects an estimated 7 million people in the U.S., according to the National Scoliosis Foundation. If left untreated, the condition can worsen and cause pain and impact vital organs. Amanda Gaither has more on how you can detect early signs.
It's an abnormal curving of the spine that often appears in the shape of the letters S or C. Scoliosis is common, but for most people, the cause is unknown.
The majority of scoliosis patients don't have significant pain or discomfort.
Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Nicholas Fletcher with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says in the beginning that's part of the problem. Oftentimes, mild scoliosis doesn't have symptoms, and many cases may not require immediate treatment. But if the spinal condition worsens and is left untreated, experts say it can cause chronic back pain, impact heart and lung function, and affect self-esteem. That's why early detection through screening is critical.
One of the challenges with screening is that the children who are most likely to get scoliosis are typically between the ages of 10 and 15.
Fletcher says parents of children in that age range don't often see their children's bare back, so he says they need to be diligent in looking for warning signs, including uneven tops of shoulders, one shoulder blade more prominent or visible than the other, one hip appearing higher, one side of the rib cage higher than the other when bending forward, or changes in the shape of the spine.
We recommend screening in the 6th and the 8th grade because those are typically the times at which children are growing the fastest.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next in sports, Waterford seniors make history, becoming the first class to win 2 state titles at the school. When we come back, find out how the Wildcats won the first ever Division 7 title.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go. How would you know you got here? It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
It's a story that's been hidden in the hills of southern Ohio for decades. During the Great Depression, 5 country boys had a dream to become state basketball champions, and did it with antics on the court that brought joy and laughter to the people around the state.
No one could predict it or duplicate it. It truly is one of the great sports stories of all time.
The 8th wonder, the Waterloo Wonders.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
I'm Charlie Elenfo with sports. The Waterford Wildcats earned their 3rd state title on Saturday under legendary head coach Jerry Close with a 48-46 win over Fort Loramie. These two teams squared off last year, but it was Loramie who walked away with a 42-29 win. The game was eerily familiar, and so are the faces. Loramie's starting lineup had 5 seniors, while the Wildcats were propelled by 3 seniors of their own. Avery Smithberger, Avery Wagner, and Kendall Surrey all returned and were determined to avenge last year's loss. This was a back-and-forth contest the whole way. Waterford's largest lead was only 11. Despite the Wildcats leading from 3:24 in the first quarter, Loramie never let up the pressure. They brought the game down to 1 point in the final minute, and it took 3 critical defensive stops to silence the late Fort Loramie rally. There were a lot of big runs throughout the contest, but that's to be expected when the game hinges on the 3-ball. After leaning on the 3-ball all tournament, Waterford buried 7 threes in this contest. Loramie shot 71% from 3, going 5 for 7. It was a huge component of the Fort Loramie rally in the 4th quarter, a rally that began with a huge 3 courtesy of Autumn Turner. The difference makers were the Waterford veteran trio. The senior core came up huge. Smithberger, Surrey, and Wagner contributed 39 of Waterford's 48 points. The trio was enough to overcome the substantial efforts of Victoria Mesher, who led all scorers with 19 points. She and Avery Brandui led the effort for Loramie. It was another chapter in the clash between 2 historic coaches, Close and Clara Siegel. On the way to Dayton, Siegel notched Loramie's 1,000th career program win. They are the first and only girls program to reach that milestone, something Siegel has contributed to as both a coach and a player. Close and the Wildcats notched the first ever state title for Division 7, and Close owns every state semifinal, state runner-up, and state championship in Waterford's history as a coach. Prior to Saturday, Siegel owned the series 2-0, but Close has officially entered the win column with this Waterford state title. It was a big weekend for Ohio baseball, notching their first conference win over Central Michigan in dramatic fashion. The Bobcats entered the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing the Chippewas 12-8, but they rallied to 7 runs and shut the door on Central Michigan and won 15-12. It was an impressive offensive performance for Ohio, tying their second most hits on the season. But the Bobcats' offense has been high-powered all year, slapping 9 or more hits in 12 games this year, and they've needed it too. Ohio's just one win when they finished with fewer than 9 hits. It was another standout performance by freshman Matt Einig, totaling 3 hits. This second baseman has been outstanding all year long. He leads the MAC in batting average at .446. Ben Slinker was another key contributor to the victory, adding a double, 2 hits, and 2 RBIs. He's 6th in the MAC in OPS. Across the board, the Bobcats leaned heavily on the long ball. They compiled 5 home runs, including a Nick Dolan 3-run shot to take the lead in the 7th. I'll send it back. We'll have more for you after the break.
We, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine class of 2026.
Growing up in the Bronx, I passed by Einstein all the time.
Pledge to exemplify the virtues of doctorate.
I didn't think I would ever study medicine here, but here I am.
We make this oath to our patients, to science, to our communities, and to ourselves, today and for the rest of our lives.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
In the beginning, there have always been those of us looking for stories.
This is a huge moment.
I feel like there's nothing around that can stop me.
It's your being. It's who you are.
We need to do something to make a change.
I know that there are people like me out there.
We need to have a voice.
It's what you do next that matters.
You start to discover a deeper part of yourself.
My whole world changed instantly.
Hey you! We know what you did. And we think you're just the most magnificent person ever. Because you support public television. And you did it by donating your car to our station. Vehicle donations like yours bring significant funding to the quality news and programming you turn to every day. So now, it's time to celebrate you and all of our supporters that keep us going.
For the first time in 31 years, an American came in first place at the Los Angeles Marathon. Matt Richmond of Illinois was the American who broke the streak yesterday. His time, 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 56 seconds. The former Montana State University star crossed the finish line nearly 3 minutes before the runner-up. An American runner last won the race in 1994, with runners from Kenya placing first most of the time since then. Richmond says Sunday's race was only his second marathon. Now we're going to toss it over back to Calvin for a final look at weather.
So tonight is going to be a beautiful night. We're going to see a low of 33 degrees. Now heading into the rest of the week, it is going to be much of the same. You know, we're going to have highs up in the 50s, we're going to have highs in the 50s after Wednesday, and Wednesday we're going to even have a chance to hit 80 degrees.
So Calvin, do you think I can put that jacket away for sure?
Oh yeah, for Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah, it's going to be mostly clear skies, highs up in the 70s, 80s.
Because today I felt like it was a little misleading. The sun was out, but I was still really cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree, but you know what? If you see me and my mom walking my dogs and it's nobody's business, you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. Yes. Taking advantage of the warm weather.
Exactly.
Charlie, are we going to see you on a hot girl walk?
You know, we might have to. You know, 70 degrees, got to take advantage of that. So, yeah, great weather coming up this week.
Yes.
Perfect. And not to mention Waterford Wildcats state title.
Big news. Big third, Jerry Close, you know, legendary head coach.
Well, that does it for all of us here at Newswatch. Thanks for joining us. Have a great
Support comes from Explore Hocking Hills, welcoming guests to the Hocking Hills State Park, providing an antidote to cabin fever with the great outdoors. Multiple cabins and lodges are available for a cozy soft season getaway. Information and details at explorehockingHills.com.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated.